welcome back to Peterson Auto. We're going to cover the 2021 Lemons Rally Rust Belt Ramble. First image here is my favorite truck stop along I-80. Just to let you know, always stop in there. It's the M. Lemton exit. So a bunch of cool stuff on the way out. There's a bunch of beans, a bunch of corn, some windmills, and some cool old buildings. I have pictures of them all here for you. But we got out there and we ran into some issues with the clutch cable being stretched. So the first night, right before the rally, we decided to replace the clutch cable. It was about a quarter-inch too large in diameter, and there was a nub on the end that needed sawed off. We had to borrow a hacksaw from some guys in a New Edge Mustang it was a convertible with a PVC roll pipe. Oh my god, it was obnoxious. And I didn't see them at all the rest of the rally. From what I was hearing, they were leaving at like 2, 3 in the morning, and they were driving like a bat out of hell. They were just hauling. And they hit a lot of the checkpoints and everything. They had a decent little get up, but I don't think it was enough to actually get them anything worthwhile. I'm not 100% sure on that, because the award ceremony was a little hard to keep track of what was going on, to be honest with you. But anyway, they did help us out, and I thank them a lot. It's Thomas John Affair on Instagram. So they were great guys for the 5-10 minutes we hung out with them while I hacksawed a clutch cable up. But hey, they were great guys. They were really cool. Wish I would have seen a little more of them. Then we got to go the next day there. Actually, that night we got breakfast at a restaurant here, which the pictures are coming up now. And then we went to the baseball game the next day. Baseball game was a little minor league game. They recommended we go to it. But this restaurant, Lemons, should really add to their list. It's a great little hole-in-the-wall restaurant. They were understaffed, so I understand the wait times they had, but the food was amazing, worth every little bit. Baseball game, was trying to get a baseball bat to roll my fenders, but that just didn't happen. I'm not even sure how it's so hard to get a legit baseball bat at a baseball game. I asked the teams, I asked the souvenir area, I asked this chick who was customer service of some sort. She finally said they have one in the souvenir area. It would be a broken one, and they do sell broken bats when they break, but there wasn't any at the time. So the fenders got rolled with adjustables because we had so much weight in the trunk that we were rubbing our tires, even though my normal ride height is tires are never gonna touch. We had that much weight in it. They always touched. So one tire's a little bit chewed up, but I'll be taking the wheels off and taking care of that at some point in time. And it doesn't necessarily need to be too soon, though, because all the weight's out and now it's back to normal. There were a lot of cool bridges, a lot of cool sights and everything, so keep an eye open for these here. None of them are necessarily stops, just kind of things I've seen and I thought were cool. There's one picture there where there's a lemon sticker on my right front wheel. I tried to start that, got a couple guys to do it. I really wish I could have got more to do it, but I was having too many repair issues. So we started the first day there, and when we started the first day, we got to this place, which was the Union Station there in Gary, which that was the first stop, and then we got maybe a block or two away from that, and the clutch started acting up again. So we went to Lane Performance, eventually got to Lane Performance, which we saw that neon there at, which matches with one in the rally kind of well. And that's the inside of Lane right there. They're like Summit Racing, but as far as I can tell, they're a one destination shop there in the middle of Indiana. And honestly, I got catalogs for them and everything. I'll be buying more. They're great people. Really helpful. Much more caring about your project than Summit. I think that might be because Summit is so overwhelmed by cool, amazing projects. It's become normal for a lot of their guys, which I don't blame them. Summit's still completely helpful and everything else. But they thought the Lemons Rally was cool down there at Lane and were pretty interested in it. So got a clutch cable. got a clutch quadrant and a firewall adjuster and put them on during the concourse day lemons the next morning, and then we were good until we hit Flat Rock. We had to stop there, and there was a dirt parking lot, and donuts ensued. Which, it's a Mustang. You got to do the Mustang thing. And honestly, the 4-cylinder really pulled some good burnouts and donuts there. It performed excellent. My limited slip works great. And I took a video, and the MP4 file's corrupted, so now I have to figure out how to decorrupt it to use it, and it's been a mess. I'm hoping I actually can get that video. Charlie took one for Instagram that's in slow-mo, and I'm not a fan of slow-mo. So maybe I'll kidnap that one and use that if I have to. But yeah, it did some real nice burnouts, and it was a lot of fun. But I think I broke the steering coupler. So that picture there's the hotel in Cleveland, where I was planning on replacing the steering coupler with a Fairleigh factory one. That's where we wound up parking, right on the end of a main street there. It wasn't exactly the greatest place for repair. There was absolutely no chance this parking was going to work for any repair, so I parked out on the street hoping to decide what to do, maybe find a Walmart or something. It didn't happen. We went downtown and found this giant chandelier. No idea why it was there. It was in that square place, whatever it says, Playhouse Square. There was, I guess, a playhouse there. A couple good bars and restaurants and whatnot, typical downtown district, But yeah, the giant chandelier was confusing, weird. I don't know why it's there. So I took a lot of pictures of it. But then after going through downtown Cleveland there, we proceeded to go through, and we hit a little south of there, and there's a Brea Falls. There's a video I have on the scenic loop around it, which was really amazing, to be honest with you. The views were great, the nature and the scenery. So check out that video if you want. It's on my YouTube there. The falls themselves were pretty cool. However, at that point, I was worried about trying to find a way to fix the steering shaft. And actually, this was coming into Cleveland, my mistake. And then we went to Cleveland. My picture's a little out of order, but I was worried about, finding a way to get the parts for the steering shaft. We went out and got the rag joint, and we just when we were here, we borrowed someone's grinder because I didn't bring any cutting tools again to grind off the rivets. And that all would have worked out pretty well, except for, location. I couldn't get the car jacked up. I couldn't crawl under the car without potentially getting ran over. So, that issue was remedied, I will say, at Summit Racing the next morning. So we hightailed it down the summit, stopped at the 3 stops along the way, and went out with the Little Yikes guys. That's lemons_little_yikes is their hashtag there, or their whatever Instagram thing. They also got a YouTube going on. I forget the name of it. But yeah, Little Yikes did their thing, and that was pretty cool. Definitely an interesting ordeal. They took their Little Tykes Cozy Coupe based smart car with the Ghetto the Ghetto Cozy Coupe we found, their Cozy Coupe, and all the little Cozy Coupe models, and lined them up in front of the Little Yikes corporate headquarters. Unfortunately, no one was there because it was on Saturday or Sunday. I forget what day it was, actually at that point, but no one was there. So unfortunately, we didn't get corporate coming out and giving them sponsorships, which would have been really awesome. But it was definitely worthwhile. It was a very heartfelt, heartwarming moment. Probably the most emotional point of the entire Lemons rally, because reuniting these objects that have just become flagships of this rally so far, with their original place of manufacture, was quite worthwhile. So off the summit it was, and there we fixed the
rag joint by installing a whole new steering shaft, which point I bumped the fuel line and the fuel line broke and started leaking, and I leaked fuel everywhere. After I leaked fuel everywhere, I had to go ahead and repair the fuel line. Then I noticed the transmission had nothing attaching the transmission mount to the cross member any longer. So I had to replace that. Oh, Charlie replaced that hardware. That was the one thing he accomplished there. So that helped out a lot. That was one less thing to worry about. And after that, I had to pull the column out to get the steering shaft in because it just went sliding right. So I had to pull the column out and decollapse the shaft and put it in right and everything, which is just a royal pain. And in that process, unfortunately, I realized the ignition switch was zip tied together. So I just said, okay, too bad, we're going to zip tie it. We went and made one more stop, then hightailed it to Pittsburgh. We were looking for the Find It, which is the hard to find thing they give you very little information on. And everyone was finding it, and I don't know how we couldn't find it. I don't. Other than the fact we're rolling in a low Mustang that was basically everything else that was our height had some kind of roof on it. I mean, had no kind of roof on it. Was a convertible, sorry. Everything else that was our height was a convertible. And we just drove by it and didn't see it. That's the only thing I could think of. But, so we finally gave up on that and started heading back to Pittsburgh. And Charlie was a little upset and decided to eject our itinerary from the car, which was probably the highlight of that, the Find It. It actually made the Find It. And all the searching and the headache and not coming up with anything actually kind of worth it, because it was one of those moments that was just great. We were both so frustrated. So I don't think Lemons is all ups. There's some downs to it. It's an emotional roller coaster. It really is. It's a great experience. I'd highly recommend it to anyone who has at least basic mechanical abilities. Here are some of the repair pictures of what we had to deal with, just to give you an idea of what I stated earlier in the ordeal. I actually bent that C-clamp trying to press that pin out of that. That didn't work very well. So, we also went on a Detroit bus company tour while in Detroit, which was worth it, but not for the reasons the bus company thinks it is. It started out at this old abandoned factory, and they got some golf clubs to hit some rubble with, and had a tire toss, and played soccer with, junk as goals. And honestly, I'm not sure if they have the insurance for it or not, but it was a fun time. I went and took a whack at something with the golf club, and then I decided to go in the building, which they said, I don't know if I'd recommend it. You probably shouldn't go in the building, but a bunch of other people did, so I went along. And the building had a lot of cool graffiti. It was neat. Definitely was not something you would say is much Detroit Motor related anyway. It was tagged as a undisclosed location in Canada by many, which shows the fact that most people there did not know the legality of us being there or not. It wasn't made clear if Detroit Bus Company had any insurance or any permission to actually give a tour here. However, it was an abandoned testing facility for AMC Jeep or R&D facility or something of some sort. And from the neighborhood around it, it didn't look like the cops would care for anything less than a murder. However, it was fun. So, pictures are starting here. You can see this place is run down and horrible, but we were walking around in there, and there's an elevator shaft I decided to look in, and I saw this cozy coupe. This one was purple and pink, and Dorf Motor Company, the fire truck, these guys were handing out beer like at every stop. Anyone they saw, they're like, "You want a beer? You want a beer?" So, every night there was basically a party in the fire truck. I started calling them the party fire trucks. They literally handed out that many beers to that many people. It was getting to the point where, like, random people passing by would they just like, hey, you want a beer? They were really cool guys, full of energy, full of crazy stuff. They eventually had overheating issues and started pouring beer down their radiator to make up for the coolant that puked out. There is a picture of the ghetto cozy coop we found. Well, I found, but Dorf's guys, one of them, I think his name was Eric, decided to yank it out of the elevator. I had to convince him to do it because he was about a foot taller than me, and I was in fear of not being able to get out. At which point he throws a folding chair down there, jumps on it, gets the cozy coop, tosses it out to me. I set it aside. And he starts jumping up to get out, and I'm like thinking, why didn't you use the folding chair? And I was planning on helping him, but I was just laughing at the situation too much. And it was quite interesting. Took it out, and I thought, honestly, the Cozy Coop guy would love that kind of souvenir. And I went and got on the bus because they were calling people to get on the bus. Next thing you know, I see Dorf's guys telling... Little Yikes that basically he's got to take this thing. It's going home with him no matter what he does. And Little Yikes actually, by the time the rally ended, became really attached to it. And he was, he's taking it home and keeping it in his collection. So that'll be, quite the cool experience there. After the abandoned warehouse, we went and did a quote-unquote protest in Detroit to bring Saturn back, which was just at the GM corporate headquarters. And honestly, it's tough to say because if it wasn't such a mess, it would have been a waste of time. So apparently, Detroit Bus Company's leader, Andy, the guy who is the owner or whatever, I think, great guy, really knows Detroit history, gave us tons of facts, went ahead and set up a fake protest and had us make signs and everything in front of the GM corporate headquarters to protest to bring Salmon back. I guess he contacted the news, and the news came, and actually one of them showed up, and they interviewed people, and the news broadcast it as it was a legit protest, which was kind of surprising. It really was. There were so many jokes made to the news people that they should have caught on that this is a joke, or even asked or something. There's even the mention of, oh no, this is just part of the tour for the bus company. We're on a Lemons rally, But long story short, they took it serious, broadcast it, and then took the video down. But if you do want to see the coverage they had, it was about 2 minutes long, and it's on the Lemons Rally Facebook page, so you can go ahead and find them there. And you can see the little bit of a coverage they had on it. Now, I was a little upset with this protest because, current political times dictates after the protest comes, of all things, the riot, and then after the riot comes the looting. And I was excited for the looting because if you're going to loot, there's the place to do it. I mean, you get a free Corvette out of it, right? I didn't get a free Corvette, so I was a bit disappointed. And there was this charging station that said out of order on it, but it was like clearly a display and didn't actually have any way to plug anything in. And I don't know why. And this is the guy who does the Little Yikes. He had a very good sign that basically was what about half the people there felt. And Detroit Bus Company, Andy did a great job. I would have rather seen a little more of Detroit than, spending so much time at the factory and protesting GM. Let's go down there, let's look and see, spend 10 minutes there and go on to the next thing. We drove from the highway, we could see the Ford Motor Company's original factory that made the Model Ts or something there is really cool. But I'd rather gone to that than GM's headquarters. Has a lot more automotive history in it. You know, GM's current headquarters doesn't. And he clearly told us the reasoning behind that place in the original reasoning behind that place in our tour, which is actually pretty cool and a neat little fact you might want to find. This is a velodrome, which is a bicycle racetrack, and there's a soapbox derby hill there. Apparently, Andy and a bunch of his local buddies got some dozers and dug it out a few years back or something. It was a really neat place. We really wanted to take our cars on it, but there's, if you look in the back of that picture there was a good chunk of it that had about a 4-inch offset, and concrete was popped up, and I was like, ah, man, we're not going to do that. I was really stoked to do that, though. That would have been awesome. Detroit Bus Company's parking lot looked like a junkyard when we were in there. You know, I made the comment, the demo derby's over, we're all going home now. And then I took this picture, which is the Mustang, with a couple buses and their building in the background. I think it's a great picture, honestly. And it was all of Detroit's an area where you're like, same with Gary, Indiana. You know, I don't know if I should be going here. I don't really want to be going here. But it's part of the experience, so I'm going to do it anyway. So overall, it was a great rally. It was fun. Some things that could have been changed, a little better organization, you know, and a little better bang for your buck. I would expect, you know, a little more out of the entry fee as far as getting things done and being on time. But, you know, I know it did take a lot of work to plan and put together. And one of the guys who was running the rally, Eric, is from the area. And he is passionate about this area, and you can see it in his, you can see it in his eyes when he talks about things around here and learns the new facts and all that. You know, that was his thing. And, you know, experiencing this area from his point of view was really cool. I did appreciate that. I love the rally. We'll be doing more. So, you know, like, comment, and subscribe to Peterson Auto. Thank you for listening to me and watching my pictures for a little bit. And there's a couple more videos coming here, so keep an eye out for it.